The forming of the letter here. These letters have to be formed a certain way. And there's a very big disadvantage for a lefty to form these letters. This is very good, by the way. Sorry? Yeah.
I said, thank you very much, Rabbi.
When I was learning safrut for the first time in Israel, in yeshiva, so they have this book, Kesses Sofer, something like that showed you how to begin to write the form of letters. And if you're lefty, it's very cumbersome to do this. It's really, it can be done, but it's certainly there's a big disadvantage in doing so. So anyway, getting back to that's interesting because women can write a Sefer Torah. Women could do Brit Milah. I mean, if there's no male around and a woman happens to know how to do it, look, an example of this was Tzipporah. Tzipporah took a flint and she circumcised their son to save her husband's life. Because Moshe thought that I have to first set my children up in the tent and everything like that, and then he prioritized and really my 8-day-old son is left uncircumcised. Anyway, good.
Sorry, so the letters are left to right.
Correct.
But
we write
the words are
the way the letters are formed favors a right-handed.
But you're writing this way, correct?
You're writing from left to right.
The text.
The text. You're going like I'm sorry. You're going from right to left. You're going right to left.
So left-handed wouldn't be able to see actually what he's writing.
No, because
as he's coming across.
You would think it's better, but just take my word for it. In forming the letters, a dollar, for example, goes from you go left here and then you go down. To do it this way is a little bit more cumbersome. If I have a chance, I'll show you afterward to do it. But because one of the things you should learn how to do is to sign your name in Hebrew. And my Hebrew course class on Tuesday nights, I'm going to throw that in a little bit about how to form the letters properly.
So the letters forming from left to right being more cumbersome than a right-handed smudging the whole thing.
Exactly. Because the lefty wouldn't smudge.
I hear what you're saying. That's a good point. But even though the way it's done to form the letters, it's not for the speed of it all. But when you're writing with and using ink, the type of ink that you need for Sifrei Torah or mezuzahs and tefillin, you have to wait till the ink dries anyway.
You're not gonna. Rabbi told me is when they used to use the mallet and the chisel.
Yeah.
You have to. It was harder for a left-handed person.
No, that's why it's from right to left because you're hitting it. Most people are right-handed, so you're hitting it this way.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a great video on YouTube about the scribes and
go watch that. You'll see it in action.
Yeah, they'll tell you the whole story.
Demonstrated to you in black and white. All right. Getting back to now women in mitzvot, right? The question now arises: two things. Do they get rewarded? Should women get rewarded for doing the performance of these mitzvot? And if they do them, and should they say a bracha over it? What would be the issue of saying a bracha over, let's say, a woman feels like she wants to get a hold of a foreground. Let's remove the problem of having the issue of not wearing male attire.
So it's a dress. Right.
Let's say we've addressed the dress issue.
No, but I'm saying, what if it was a dress with 4 corners?
Oh, yeah, right.
And she wants to say the bracha.
It's a dress with 4 corners. I can't. Maybe a smock or what do the Indians women wear? They wear these things called a sari. Yeah, it is 4 corners on it. So what's the issue? Is the bracha true? Is it true? Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu nitatef b'tzitzit.
No, because you weren't connected.
So the verse, Andy's right. If you look at the verse, but the text of the bracha, it says Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, that commanded us in the mitzvah. So if you believe, however, that the Torah given on Har Sinai, for instance, all the negative mitzvot, except for 3, women have to observe as well, and there are plenty of positive mitzvahs for them to do as well. So the bracha asher kiddishana b'mitzvotav is not just going on the men; it's going on everyone. It's a collective bracha. So that's, by the way, the definitive explanation to this. That it's given that that men generally do this particular mitzvah, but women are a part of the corpus of called Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people. Not the women, we don't have the men, right? So we're all one. We're one group. So that's not a lie to say Asher Kiddushan b'mitzvotav. True, there is a machlokes between Tosfos and others. I think even on that reference I told you, there's a Mishnah on page 29a in the Tractate of Kiddushin, which talks about mitzvahs in general, men, children, men's obligation to their children, women's obligation to their children, and then women in general. This is the address for a lot of these particular halachos. There's other places in the Talmud where this is discussed. Tosfos comes out by saying, yes, she can make a bracha. Sephardim and Ashkenazim, Sephardim say no. In the end, the Ashkenazim say, yes, women would make brachot over these things. Many say that even among the Sephardim too, there's a sort of a dispute amongst those authorities. In the end, women can and should make brachot if they're going to say, do these mitzvot. The other question that came, yes?
I noticed with some women, I mean, they have a son, they would need to know the bracha because when they're usually dressing the child sometimes, and the child doesn't know the bracha yet. So I think they're fulfilling that, and maybe as chinuch, as the general mitzvah of education. Yes, good point. It's a good extra addendum to this. Now, final thing, and on this I will end the session. And you can go negotiate through the rain to get you back to your car. I'm sorry I don't have an umbrella for everyone, for myself included. Who gets the bigger mitzvah?
The man.
No. Let me ask it a different way. If women do the same a mitzvah that they're not commanded to do, or not obligated to do, it's another way of looking at it, and therefore they're doing it voluntarily, does someone who does something voluntarily get more reward than someone who does it out of obligation? Hold on, wait. Let's soak it. Is someone who is obligated to do something is awarded less schar than someone who does it voluntarily? And what is your thinking right now? Honestly, what comes to mind? Voluntarily. Shkoyach. I was thinking the same. Right?
I think if you're commanded to do it or you're asked to do it, would be the bigger mitzvah.
Okay,
and I got a reason for that.
Okay, good. I want to hear a reason. Because hold on, everybody. Does everybody think, like, for example, I work 9 to 5, and I'm a teacher, and after 5 o'clock I clock out, right? And some students are lingering behind, and they want to study with me, right? Isn't that more virtuous than the 9 to 5 teaching that I was just doing? So we would think that our intuition tells us that achieves greater reward. But what is the true reality? And why is your argument that one is commanded?
The reason why I would think about it is like if I have an employee and I tell him I'm going to pay you $20, to go take out this trash.
He's going to do a better job.
Well, not only going to do a better job, but then somebody else comes and is like, I'll help you. But I'm agreeing to a payment for this person to do this job, and maybe he might do it every day. So I think somehow maybe there's an attributed factor to them doing a good job and doing the mitzvah, and there's some kind of reward there, but it's to the person that he's already made the agreement with, not to.
Interesting. It's really.
In the scenario of the teacher, you can help your students and be a good teacher, but it could be at the sacrifice of your family. That's what we say. And in the terms of the mitzvah, if we're supposed to do what we were commanded to do, the benefits of the man fulfilling his role and then 20 generations down the line, kind of like strengthening the ability for that line to continue, kind of like feeds into the future of what God intended, whereas somebody that is, you know, volunteering to do something they weren't commanded to do, that might be, you know, nice for them, but it's not something that fits into God's plan for the future.
Interesting way of looking at it. So it's sort of like a legacy issue of doing something that you are handing on as an example for future generations, as opposed to doing something which is not necessarily integral to that system.
Because I could be volunteering to do all these male mitzvot, but at what point do I neglect the ones that God intended for me?
Beautiful, well put.
And maybe by doing those male mitzvot, I then delegitimize myself in a way from potentially a bashert that would want me to be doing my role, and then, you know.
Excellent. Excellent outlook. I like that. Hold on, I have to make a telephone call to the
Amen.
Amen.
By the way, women have to make all the brachot that men make. Women have to make. There's no exception. To wash your hands. You know, to say make that before you eat bread. Good.
Expanding into the prayer that you speak when you first wake up. Women should not be, in my humble opinion, exempt, because they possess the
soul also.
Yeah,
of course they should do it.
Yeah,
yeah. But the last thing I'm going to teach you right over here is is not has nothing to do with that. Oh, that's a good point. What about this reward issue? Who should get rewarded more? And now here's the toast, folks. Take it or leave it. When a person is obligated to do something, they feel a yoke. They feel this weight on their shoulders. Because they can't just take it or leave it. The conscience tells them, I have to do this. I got to get up in the morning, as tired as I am, try to get to a minyan, put my tefillin on, pray for an hour, and maybe learn a little. And even though we might think, particularly if you're just like, if a woman want to take that on, they say, wow, this is great, I want to do this, I love it, and like that, but then again, there's a resistance factor. And since women are not obligated to do these things, they can take it or leave it. It's not that equal and the opposite, and force.
They don't feel the yoke.
And they don't feel that yoke.
So it might be easier for them.
It might be easier for them to perform those things in the end, because they'll realize that if I neglect it one day, God is not going to be upset with me. And then Jews were going to say, well, you didn't put your tefillin on this morning, You don't feel it. You feel it. You feel that responsibility to uphold this. And even though you might get a lot out of it, over time, like bar mitzvah boy loses that thrill of putting on tefillin for the first time. The secret is to be able to do it the same way we're doing it initially. But the enthusiasm you had for your spouse underneath the chuppah should be the same you have for her 30 years later, after all those children, and her body doesn't look exactly the way it did before. And that's the way our attitude should be toward Torah mitzvot. There's definitely a reward for doing something that you are commanded to do so, from this perspective. But that even if we're not commanded to do from it, we should feel also a desire to do God's will. And that's the issue. What is His will? And there's definitely defined roles in Judaism for men and women to play the position that we're supposed to play, whether it's the pitcher, catcher, or shortstop. Full circle. Everyone, have a great rest of the week. Those who are coming back Tuesday.